Hello and welcome to TOD Rolls Dice, where we're going to take a look at the Warhammer Age of Sigmar General's Handbook 2025-26. We get these every season, I say season, every year I think it is. They have little shake-ups and changes to the format of the game. Sometimes they're just new missions, sometimes, I think like this one, they're a bit more of an overhaul to things that are going on. So we're going to have a look at what's inside this box. This is a brand new format for this, I suppose it's a new delivery system for this type of product. They started doing, if you've seen my 40k mission deck overview that we did, I think last weekend, you used to just get cards and then separately, if you wanted, you could buy objective markers for, what, probably the same price? Well, now for Age of Sigmar, they've decided to bundle it all together, charge you a little bit extra. It's still a saving, not much, but it's still a saving. But they charge you a little bit extra to give you the full experience of what they would like you to play for matched play and just general play, I think, as well, for 2025-26. So this covers us until probably June time 2026, with this going into the second year of the edition. So what do you get inside the box? You get the General's Handbook, which I believe also contains the full rules. So if you don't have a rule book, this is actually a pretty good product to pick up. You get all your different cards, you get your manifestations and spell cards and your 6 neoprene objective markers, like a 40mm objective marker with the 3-inch surround. So in this box you will find a book containing background information on the wars across the continent of Neos in the realm of life. So a little bit of lore, that's nice. And a matched play battle pack that includes new battle tactics, an updated scoring sheet and more. Updated advanced rules modules including magic, commands and terrain, 12 brand new match play battle plans, new battle tactics cards, and a new mechanic for picking up battle tactics cards as part of building your army roster, 6 bespoke objective markers for use with the battle pack, allowing you to get straight to playing the new battle plans. Updated war scroll cards for universal manifestations, as well as handy rules reference cards, and the complete core rules for ease of reference. So this, I'll put the price, the Games Workshop retail price, on screen now, just so you've got an idea of how much this costs. I got this third party. You can usually save anything between 10 to 20% third party. But if you are looking to get into Age of Sigmar, but you don't want to do any of the starter boxes, this actually isn't a bad pickup. It's cheaper than the rulebook, and it gives you everything you need to play. If you want the lore, obviously the rulebook is a good shout. But how about we have a look at this? So inside we get cardboard. I'll tell you what, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Get rid of that bit. So nice sleeved cards as well. I quite like this. I like how they deliver these packages. Manifestations as well, all themed around, I think it's Ghyran that we're in. We'll get on to the mats. I've never had a Games Workshop objective marker, so I'm interested to see what these are like. And then your General's Handbook with rules reference on the back. Quite a lot of rules reference, honestly. Yeah, this is quite nice. And it's portable. That's what I like about these little smaller books. Very much like the gamer edition of the battle tomes, if you wanted to go down that route. Just easy, portable, has everything you need. With the gamer editions, they have a bit too much, because it is the full battle tome, just downsized, I guess. Whereas this gives you a little bit of lore and things, but the main focus of this book is to get you playing. Contents wise, we have To War, the Player's Code, Battle in the Jade Realm, Bloom and Blood, and then we move into page 8, Match Play Battle Pack, Battle Ready on page 20, Core Rules 24, Advanced Rules on 46, and then your glossary, Army Roster, and Rules Reference from page 70. There's your Army Roster. It's quite nice. I quite like that actually. I mean, it's a shame that it's printed in the book and not a sheet that you can copy. We have our glossary there with all of the terms and rules references that you'll need. This is quite a handy little book. Going through advanced rules, army composition overview. So this is the first time I've looked through this. You've just seen me unboxing it. I'm not going to be commenting on any rules changes or anything. That might be a separate video, we'll see. I am very behind on my Age of Sigmar at the minute. You've got attacking examples and things as well, attacking sequence, everything that you need to get playing, which is good. Got painting to a battle ready standard as well, with not necessarily a painting guide, but an idea of what the differences are. It's not super in depth, but I suppose it's quite handy. Scoring sheets, which you can see there. The scenery is kind of cool, isn't it, in AOS? And then we have a variety of different battle tactics. And then it talks about the different objective markers because they now have their own special rune on them, and they are sized for objective and control zone, which I think is quite handy. It can take away from some gaming mats, but these do look like little temples and things at the floor of a temple, which is quite nice. So that's General's Handbook. There's quite a nice amount of rules reference material in there as well. I'll have a look at that separately. Let's get the mats out the way. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 2 of the same design there and 2 of the same design there. Interesting. But they are quite nice. Obviously they reflect light, as you can see. I've got the lights on. They are foam backed, or soft backed at least. Very thin. And on a table they're not going to be too much of a distraction. You'll have terrain and stuff, models moving around them, I'm sure. Yeah, actually they're quite nice. I'm not entirely sure. I know why they bundled this together, because they have their own markings on. And I am dreading the day that 40k does this as well, just to make the command chapter approved decks that much more needed and expensive. But yes, it's an interesting experiment that is forcing people to buy extra bits that they might not necessarily want. But if you're doing a matched play, I guess you have no choice. So we have our universal spells and manifestations. And we'll just skim through there, double-sided, so you have a spell on each side. Manifestation laws. I do like the model for Quicksilver swords, and just floating swords is always cool. The Purple Son of Shaish. That was a popular one, wasn't it? I'm losing grip. So you're pretty much covered for most things in here. All of your, as we say, all of the universal standards. Very handy. I don't know what size they are. I think that are they tarot-sized cards? I would guess. But they're very nice. I mean, typical Games Workshop quality when it comes to the cards. I can't fault them that way. Pop them back in there so I don't lose them. Again, I'm not going to go through these individually here. It might be a separate video. If you want me to run through them, I'll have to do it differently. I'm not quite set up to do stuff like that. But if it is something that you're interested in and you would rather have an element of this, I mean, just for a simple sleeve, they are just quite nice. But if you want me to run through them properly, I can look at setting that up. I'm just running off my phone at the minute, and it's not the easiest when I'm trying to make sure that one, everything's working, and two, I need to be able to kind of see the product as well. Looking through a phone screen isn't great. But we have our battle plans. Let's have a look at those first. So Battle Plan 1, Passing Seasons. Paths of the Fae, Battle Plan 2, Battle Plan 3, Roiling Roots, and Cyclic Shifts. And you can see here different pieces of terrain and things dotted around. You've got your objective markers where you want them as well. Surge of Slaughter. If I do that, you can probably see it better. And number 6, Linked Ley Lines. Noxious Nexus, number 7. Oh, Battle Plan 1 for Table 2. And then the Life Roots. Bountiful Equinox. And Life Cycle. Creeping Corruption. And finally, Grasp of Thorns. I am just going to check in the book, because it looks like it's specifying where everything needs to go, not just your terrain. I want to make sure that, and I don't know why it would be, but I want to make sure that isn't just specific pieces of terrain, because Age of Sigmar terrain is incredibly hard to get hold of. No, okay, so you do have a key in the book. Medium and small pieces of terrain, you've got area terrain or obstacle, obscuring terrain, and a place of power. For both medium and small. Very nice. Moving on to our battle tactics cards next, we have, well, that's pretty much all of them. There's a rules reference included as well. So you've got a quick reference in the book, and universal terrain rules, universal weapon rules. It's quite nice. Will come in very handy if you're sort of quite often playing in Age of Sigmar. Battle Tactics Card 1, Master the Paths. So with these, you have your 3 things that you need to do, and you pick this, I think, before you build your army. We can go into these in more detail as well if you want a much more detailed breakdown of the actual features of this General's Handbook. Oh, are these singles? Yeah, they are, okay. I mean, again, it is nice artwork. It's repeated from the front of the book, but it is nice artwork. Battle Tactics Card 2, Restless Energy. And again, it tells you, complete that for 5, complete that one for 5, and then you move on to your final one to complete for 5 through the course of your game. Intercept and Recover. Wrathful Cycles. Scouting Force. This one was previewed. This one sounded interesting. And finally, Attuned to Ghyran. And again, it's just the expected quality of card. I know people like to slam Games Workshop a little bit for their amount of extra bits needed and peripheries and things. And all of these extra pieces that they sell. But honestly, they're usually quite good quality. I know they're expensive. I would never say they're anything other than expensive. But for, and I'll double check the price, it was around £35, I think. But for around £35, I think I paid. I will double check, obviously I'll put the price up on screen at the start. You'll probably know the price by now. It's not bad. I think it's on the slightly pricier end, but I think you can get away with it. Obviously, if you're playing tournaments, if you're playing any kind of competitive match play area of Age of Sigmar, or you just want all of the rules and you want to play with the new modules, you need to buy this book. On the flip side of that, if you're just playing casual, if you're just playing with your friends, there is nothing wrong with playing out the standard rulebook that you probably already have and just enjoying what you've got. You don't need this unless you're going down the tournament route. You can play match play and still do it the old-fashioned way from Season 1. It's entirely up to you. I would never say go out and buy these products unless they really are incredible, because they are always that little bit pricey. The way they used to do it, you had the choice of the objective markers, whereas here, you're forced into owning these objective markers because of how they've done the battle plans. And you need to, you don't need to, but what you need is 6 objective markers with 4 different symbols. 2 of the symbols are repeated twice. You can come up with your own, you can copy these designs and have your own objective markers and do it that way. You can make this all yourself. There's never going to be an issue with that. Certainly from a hobbyist side, I would say Games Workshop might have an issue with that if you're entering their official tournaments. But honestly, if you just follow these battle plans and you have the right objective markers or the right colour objective markers, you don't need to own the official ones. But I think it's fine. I quite like the idea of how they're doing it. I'm not sure they've got the pricing right. I'd like to see it a little bit cheaper, because these are probably not the most expensive to make. I don't know, I've never made neoprene mats, but I wouldn't have thought that they would be that expensive to make in bulk. And the cards and things are really what you're buying it for. So an option to have everything, or maybe an option to just have the cards, might have been interesting. The only other criticism I have is that the book itself isn't ring bound. I know the previous General's Handbooks used to be ring bound, which just made opening them easier. You could fold them out. So on here, when you're looking, if you want to keep a rules open, unless you ring bind it yourself, you're going to struggle for it to just... And this is, you know, once I've battered this book a little bit, it'll be easier for it to stay like that. But ideally, you don't want to be creasing like that much and breaking the spine. So if I was going to make a criticism, that would probably be the biggest one, other than you don't really need this if you're not playing match play. But it's not a bad little pack, in all honesty. I don't want to see 40k go down that route, because while these work, these have a nice uniform design between the 6 of them, and if you pop them on any battlefield, it just looks like a place of power or something. It will blend into the lore of Age of Sigmar and how the land looks, with weird little dioceses and temples and things that just pop up in areas. I'm fine with this as a design. The problem with 40k is it's so much more varied, and a lot of their objective markers wouldn't necessarily fit the battlefields that you want to be playing on, or that you normally play on. So while this is a cute idea and it works for Age of Sigmar, I don't want to see this implemented into 40k. I would rather you just have a chapter approved mission deck and you can buy the cards, and if you need objective markers, you can pick them up. Or honestly, probably based on how much the objective markers sell for 40k, just can them as a product. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on the General's Handbook if you've picked it up, and what you think of it in the comments below. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.